Oh my god. I hate just so so this was a thing that happened. I actually found about this from my nana. Let me tell you about her. She lives up in Kentucky and she believes in this kind of thing. So, we have an article from Breaking Israel News. Latest news Bible perspective, because that's grammatically correct. The woman behind the viral Dead Sea prophecy coming to life. So let me just give you a brief overview first before we get into the article. So this lady basically made some observations that there are pools of fresh water appearing in the rocks near the Dead Sea, and that these pools of water have fish in them. Let that just sink in for a moment. She is claiming that there's a prophecy that's coming true because there are some pools of water that some pools of fresh water near the Dead Sea that have fish. Think for a moment, just let that sink into your mind. Let that just kind of, huh, okay, that's the kind of person that we're dealing with. Okay, and it shall come to pass that fishers shall stand by it from En Gedi even unto En Eglaim. There shall be a place for the spreading of nets. Their fish shall be after their kinds as the fish of the great sea, exceeding many. Now, that is a mouthful of a sentence, but what it's basically saying is that there will be a point where people will stand by between these two places, Engedi and Eglaim, which are supposed to be like, I think the Euphrates River to the Dead Sea. There'll be a place where you can go fishing, and there'll be lots of types of fish in there. That's what the prophecy would seem to be from that single verse. That single verse of prophecy. This isn't like something from the Dead Sea Scrolls. This isn't like uh, but yeah, okay. So, on Wednesday, Israel News reported to the world the discovery of freshwater ponds teeming with fish and wildlife on the shores of the Dead Sea. So, I mean, they say on the shores, but they're actually a little bit away from the shores of the Dead Sea. But they are close by. Precisely as is written in the prophets viral with a viral article that was viewed over 140,000 times and shared 20. Okay, whatever. So it was shared a bunch. Something being shared virally does not make it true. Number one. Number two, does not make any assertions that such a claim makes true. Or else, man, there would be a lot less cancer and a lot fewer fat people. I'm just saying, bad article. The inexplicable phenomenon has gone entirely unnoticed by scientists and the media, and no mention of it can be found on the internet. The story behind the story is a Jew, a young woman of simple faith and love of the land, Israel, who had the eyes to see what no one else could. So, let me go over this. Just a moment. So there are ponds, pools of water that have fish in them. Scientists would be like, oh, hey, look, there's some ponds of fresh water near the Dead Sea. There's fish in them. Well, that makes sense because there has to be water coming in from somewhere. It's not rainwater, clearly. This is fucking Israel, the Middle fucking East, we're talking about here. Um, and yeah, so why is fish in a freshwater pond a big deal? See, a lot of people interpreted this as there are fish in the Dead Sea. Now, this would be an outlandish claim. This would be like, holy crap, we thought the Dead Sea, except for a whole bunch of extremophiles that live in the Dead Sea, this is amazing. This is something worth researching. How do they stand the high salt content? There'd be you'd have at least um, some sort of fish anthropologist or something like that coming out and taking DNA samples and things like that. That would be pretty cool. But that's not what's happening here. Let's see. Samantha Siegel, a remarkable young woman originally from America, lives in the Knockout. Okay. Here we go. A frequent visitor. How she first realized she was witnessing a realization prophecy. Last year, when I saw a fish in the pond, I remembered the prophecy, but I didn't really realize the significance. Saw a fish in the pond.
Just 30 minutes drive east of
Now,
Jerusalem, and you arrive at the lowest point on the globe, the Dead Sea. In recent
this
years, the sea's been shrinking, and thousands of sinkholes have opened up, some containing
here.
sweet, fresh water. From the road, you can even see these ponds, which have formed only recently, and small fish now live in these pools. This is a big deal, and no one's really talking about it.
Okay, that's all that we needed to see from that. Sinkholes appearing, salt being filtered out through the ground to get to get fresh pools of water, is not a unique phenomenon. This is not something that is miraculous or earth-shattering. This is a thing that happens in nature. And when you have these pools of fresh water, well, fresh water is really good for, plants and algae and stuff like that. So you're gonna get plants and algae around them, which is gonna help, sustain the fish population. And it's just it's a positive growth cycle. Yes, this is really cool. This is basically like, it's not terraforming, but these are the kinds of things that you could do to terraform. But this is bullshit. Anyways, once you see it, the connection is so undeniable, it's right in front of your face. I just, no. Okay. Like Isaac Newton's apocryphal discovery of gravity by way of an apple falling on his head, which apocryphal used correctly, but implying that apocryphal somehow lends credence to the idea. The whole point is that it's sort of an anecdote that was added later, or some people say that that's how it happened. Or Alexander Fleming's discovery of penicillin, which is not apocryphal, is a serendipitous accident, but an accident nonetheless. And both were huge contributions to the modern scientific community. This is not. Okay, and so the prophecy was apparent down to the smallest detail. Now, this verse, first of all, comes before the verse up at the top. That was Ezekiel 47, verse 10. This is verse 9. It shall come to pass that every living thing wherewith it swarmeth, whithersoever the rivers shall come live, and there shall be a very great multitude of fish, for these waters are come thither, that all things be healed may live whithersoever the river cometh. So basically, another mouthful. I hate this translation. But it's saying that the rivers, which these aren't rivers, these are pools of water, are going to come alive, and there's going to be a bunch of fish in them. And these waters will heal things, or they'll be healed. That the Dead Sea is basically going to be quote unquote healed from being salty, which is not what's happening. the Dead Sea is basically draining and being filtered into fresh groundwater in pools around it, as well as, just evaporating off because, it's in the desert. It doesn't rain. It doesn't get a lot of ways to replenish the water to dilute the saltiness. Not only are there fish, but a family of ducks comes to greet me every time I go there. Now, that is adorable. That is an adorable thing. But, again, there's ducks. If there's fish, there's going to be something that hunts the fish. Or else the fish population will get out of control. Plus, you got these pools of fresh water, that aren't, like, particularly huge, and they looked kind of shallow. You're like, well, if I was a bird, I'd be like, that's pretty easy pickings. I'd probably hang around there too. Just makes sense. Scientists in the media say the Dead Sea is dying, which is true. Which is a double negative that means the opposite. What? No, that's not how that works. It is called the Dead Sea. And the Dead Sea is dying because the Dead Sea is no longer going to be the Dead Sea. Not in that it's going to be a living sea, but in that there is no longer going to be water in that area. It is just going to be salt. And there will be a bunch of pools of fresh water and stuff around it. And then eventually probably those will dry up, and then you won't have any water there. Global warming at work, people. Congratulations. Anyways. Won't go to Tel Aviv. In the desert you can really feel God. Yeah, so basically then she's just talking about her religious experiences. Whatever. This is just people believe stuff like this. Now, you know what? It's vague. It says that it's specific, but it's 2 verses taken out of context from a book a long time ago. Even the terms that they used here are very unscientific, and they're kind of tweaking things to fit into what they want. They want this to be a prophecy coming true. But there's really... it's really not. Even if you're reading it literally like these people are, which they shouldn't be, but they are. This isn't happening. This is not what the verse is saying. What the verse is saying is not what's happening. There is a disconnect. And there's blindness. They're blind to what is so apparent just by reading the verses and reading what they're saying and knowing just a little bit about the processes that make this but yeah. Yep. Anyways, Flash Rant. If you like the video, comment, subscribe, like it, share it. I don't know. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, which are down in the description. Yeah. In the next one, I'm talking about porn. That's right. I am talking about porn. You should subscribe.